Hello, this is Lisa Rusczyk with the podcast We Are All Psychic
And this is Donna Murphy.
with Lisa and Sara.
With Lisa and Sara and the same podcast.
Hey, Sara, listeners, watchers. This is a video on YouTube and Spotify. We have Sara with us, and she is the owner of the Fool's Dog apps, if you know what that is. And I did tell you about it on Instagram if you saw that. She says hey to you guys, and they all say hey to you. They say, oh my God, we love you, we love you, we love you. That's what they say. And Donna has a question for you right away.
Yeah, it's the same question we ask all our guests at the beginning of every show. And I would like to know, Sara, if you think we're all psychic.
So I'm going to say yes, but I want to kind of like back up a little bit. The reason I would hesitate to say yes is because I feel like psychic is used in a lot of different ways. And in some ways, like when we talk about psychic in English, we really just mean like, do you have access to information other people don't have?
Pretty much.
So like, I do think everybody's psychic. Well, certainly I think almost everybody is psychic. Like I'm always wary of making sweeping generalizations.
I am too, but I kind of like it.
People's mind works. I think most people are psychic. I think the word psychic actually applies to a lot of different things that, like, to me, feel like different things that we're just lumping into a big category.
I think you're right.
But I think generally it's kind of a matter of scale. So it'd be like, can everybody learn to read? Well, like almost everybody can learn to read.
Yeah.
Nobody comes out of the womb knowing how to read. And some people do have like some genuine like disabilities that make it much harder for them to learn to read. Yeah. Right. Okay. So like, I think it's like any other sort of skill. Like there's some amount of it that everybody does all the time that we label as psychic, even though I don't think it really is psychism.
I love
right?
It. Yes,
and then there are other things, like, for example, that year where we all had to learn a mask, I learned that a lot of things I thought were psychism were actually about me smelling other people.
You can get information when you smell them?
Yeah, I mean...
And so when you put your mask on, you didn't anymore?
I definitely noticed. So, like, all animals, I would imagine all living things on Earth, but I think all mammals, like, I'm not a biologist, right, have, like, a lot of things that we communicate through, like, pheromones and stuff. And it is I certainly already knew that I was like more sensitive to those smells than other people. So like, for example, like I can usually, if I'm like in close proximity with a woman, I can usually smell like where in her hormonal cycle she is.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Actually, cool. Everybody can, or I don't want to say everybody, most people can smell it. So like strippers and sex workers, if you ask them, they make 3 times as many tips when they're ovulating. Like everybody can, it's a whole, they did a study.
Oh, I did not know that.
But if you know anybody who works in that field, probably even waitresses.
Yeah.
Some waitresses.
Actually, like I was a waitress for a long time in my 20s, and that sounds about right. And when I'm thinking, because I had my cycle like all the time.
Right.
And people.
Because like we smell our own pheromones and react.
Yeah.
Right. So like if I'm in a worse mood, I'm definitely going to get less tips. But also I can noticeably smell it when people, I don't mean like people are stinky or anything. I actually thought I could smell that for a while until I mentioned it. But I think most people smell it just a little. I think I'm just a little more conscious of smell. Like I notice that I'm smelling it.
Yeah. Was that the first time you picked it up was when you were wearing the mask that you noticed that, or was it before?
Well, no, I definitely knew I was like more sensitive to that smell information. Also, like I knew from like dating apps that like whether or not I was into someone, I did not know until I smelled them. I definitely knew that because people would be like, I'd be into their personality and their photo, and then I'd meet them, and I'd be like, oh, that does not smell like a person. I want to have sex with them. The other way, there's people I really don't like, but something in my body is like, oh, that smells like it makes a healthy baby.
So much.
I like notice that I'm doing that, partly because I had a lot of trouble with like emotional regulation when I was young. So I spent a lot of my 20s really carefully, like every time I felt a feel, I'd be like, oh, why am I feeling that? And like interrogate. Like it's just a meditation thing that like made me more aware of it. But I did know that I was more sensitive to other people. And then when I wrote a book about incense, like
what's it called?
The Big Book of Magical Incense.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. And while I was writing that, like your sense of smell, like anything, is a thing you can train to make better. So I had been doing that. And then COVID hit pretty quick after it. In fact, that book's publication was delayed because of like a national paper shortage during pandemic.
Whoa,
so like that book
that's
came
crazy.
Out, like, yeah, that book came out like during, so I had just done all the smell training and then I had to wear a mask all the time. And like, I was like, oh, maybe parts of what I thought was reading their mind, I'm actually just smelling their pheromones.
But I
So
call the clairaudience.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always call the smell one clairsmellience because I can never remember what it's called.
What the word
And
is.
I do have the clairsmellience. I can smell
I
stuff
do
too and know
too,
it.
but
It's like perfume or something like that. But what you're talking about, I've not
Same.
experienced.
Well, see, the thing is, I actually think all humans experience because we all know, like, I think everybody knows that when you're like physically close enough to someone that you can smell them, whether you realize you're smelling them or
Right.
not. But like, there's like a vibe that people pick up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think all of that is smell, but I think some of it. So that's
Big
why
part
I'm
of it.
like reticent about words like psychic. Because for me, like, I also get one way I sometimes know that a spirit is present is like I'll smell a smell. A thing I find particularly with like the dead,
Yes.
I find often like announce themselves with a smell. And for me, that's like a different thing. If
That's
I
the
was speaking like,
clairsmellience I was
yeah,
talking
that
about.
would call
Yeah.
it clairsmellience, right? Which to me feels like a different thing than the fact. I mean, also
Okay.
just like good at smelling things. I can also like smell a perfume and usually know what's in it. But part of that is because
Yeah.
I spent 2 years. I spent a long time professionally manufacturing incense, so I smell a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
Like,
is
it's a
so
skill
And
cool.
I think, I
Right.
think, and there are, I mean, and let's face it, it's there. Again, it's kind of like going back to the whole thing about being psychic. And I always say it's kind of like
Right.
musical ability. I mean, did they try to teach me piano when I was a little kid? Yeah. Did I sort of learn to play the piano? Yeah, I sort of did. Am I Mozart? Nope.
Right, exactly.
No,
So
I
that's
mean, nope.
and there's just a scale, but particularly psychism. Okay, as a teacher of like witchcraft, I think about this a lot. That we spent like most of the history of the English language. Like English as a language is not that old, right? And
Yeah.
most of the history of English language we spent burning to death anybody who talked about any of this shit out loud. So like
Yeah.
English does not have a robust vocabulary. So when we talk about like extrasensory
Yes.
perception, like
Yeah.
the idea that there's only 7 senses is ridiculous.
Yes.
So I don't know. I do
And they
think
all
that
work
like,
together to do something.
so for me, it's like
Information.
2 categories of psychism.
Okay.
The one is maybe more now that I'm about to say this. The
I
butcher.
love it.
So the one is things like I think extra sensitive to the kind of vibes, things like pheromonal smells that I think everybody like it's just a natural part of being in an animal body.
Right.
Yeah.
I am perhaps more sensitive to some of that than other people. Right? But then there's other things that I'm like pretty sure I can hear things that other people can't hear.
Clairaudience kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do.
Yeah, I'm clairaudient, so I can
The
definitely relate to
spirits
that.
for a living. But for me, like the thing about me that I typify as like my big one that I think doesn't happen to other people is like I do sometimes see the future.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll dream things and then they come true, which I think happens to a lot of people. Like again, all of these things, I think broadly it's just a scale. But a lot of times as soon as I meet someone, I will sort of like flash forward. And it's not like a full-blown vision. Like sometimes, like in the movies, when people are psychic, it's like they have a complete like 3D movie. That's not
I know, right?
Exactly.
at least to me, that is I've met people that maybe are experiencing that, and honestly, that seems terrible for them.
Right.
Like I used to want that, but when I meet people with that, I'm like, oh, that actually seems bad. It's just that like I remember something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just
That's
like
cool.
the same,
I like that.
sometimes you meet somebody at a party and you're like, oh, I think I've met that person before. And
I've
you're
had that.
right. You did meet someone before. But sometimes it's like I'll be in a place and I'll be like, oh, I've dreamed this place.
Mhm.
You're like,
That's
oh,
happened to
I
me a
know.
lot. Like I
And-
remember when I had the dream too. Like maybe it's 5 years ago or something.
Right. And then some also I remember things that happened to other people. Like sometimes
Wow.
I like especially honestly people's very vivid memories, which unfortunately I feel like the most vivid memories are trauma flashbacks.
They are. People have that.
Like,
front.
I do sometimes like catch someone else's trauma flashback. And I don't mean necessarily like somebody I'm close to.
Yeah.
I mean just like a neighbor or like anybody who's like physically in my vicinity.
Yeah.
When they have that kind of thing, even if I can't see them, like I'm not even necessarily in the room or something like that. And as a kid, that was a big problem because like but after eventually I like from talking about it and other people would be like, oh yeah, that was me, sorry. Right. And like So eventually, like once I learned to distinguish between, oh, that's not me. Like I'm experiencing this terrible thing happening, but that's not me. It's not happening to me. So I
Yeah,
don't.
how did you get there? I would love for you to talk about that. How did you
So,
get to where you could separate them?
so
That would help
for
out you
me,
guys, listeners.
okay. The first. Let me think. Okay, there's parts of it I don't want to talk about
Oh, you
publicly.
don't have to. You don't have to.
Well, I'm just thinking about like how to.
I'll make you.
I'm just saying it's about other people's trauma,
Oh,
so
I
I don't.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to think, okay, so there was someone very close to me that I would catch a specific trauma memory from them, but like they had never spoken about it. Like I didn't know that these things happened.
Oh, yeah.
And like eventually I found out that that happened to them. And that was the first time that I was really like, oh. And then I started to look for like it happened. And, you know, I kind of knew. I mean, I knew that like if somebody was flipping the fuck out right in front of me,
Well,
I could like
yeah.
know what they were flipping out about.
Yeah.
But when like you don't know that the other person's there, it's kind of hard. So once I like for me the first piece, okay, the first piece was that where I was really like, oh, I wish you would have told me that a long time ago because I've actually been having these trauma memories for years at this point, right? And that's fine. I mean, I shouldn't have put it on them. Like people are not required
There's
to
no
disclose.
rules. We don't know what we're doing with the energy. We've never been taught how.
It's not other people.
Well, and they don't, and right, and they're not necessarily
They're not
they're
doing
not necessarily doing it.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it would have been better for me if I had known that. But like, once I figured that out, then I started looking, and then like, look, I can't speak for other people, but I feel like for a lot of people in our culture, there's some period where you simply decide if you're crazy or if our society is crazy. And I actually picked the I'm crazy option for a
I
while.
like both of them being crazy.
Like all the doctors were telling me that I was like seriously mentally ill and I was
did
never
too.
going to get better. And I did not find that helpful in any way. They like gave me a bunch of drugs, which I would argue ruined my life for a couple years. And I still have like problems from, but eventually I was just like, well, I'm going to just decide not to be crazy. Like I'm just not like, I disagree. And
Yeah.
I just stopped doing all that.
Yeah.
And that got better. But you know, it's like, okay, the how I got better at distinguishing between my thoughts and other people's thoughts is Vipassana meditation. I think any kind of meditation will work, but the kind I do is called Vipassana. And basically, you just pay attention to your own mind. So I just sit. Here is my basic meditation advice for everyone. The first part is that, like, as a modern person, I think there's like a stage that has to be added before starting a meditation practice because I think many modern people are basically never bored. The instant that like things it's sensory deprivation, like there's not a million things screaming at them all at once. They just turn on their phone and make a million things scream at them at once.
It's hilarious. You're so right. Yeah.
It's
So the
true.
first step before you can learn to quiet your mind,
Mhm.
to listen to your mind,
Mhm.
which means just being quiet. Like you just have to, you know, sit somewhere. So like when you're on the toilet, maybe just don't turn on your phone. Just sit for like 3 minutes. Listen to what your brain
Even in
has.
the other room. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like just whatever. Like when you're standing in line, just like listen to what your mind has to say. But also before starting like a formal like sitting meditation practice, I think for most beginners, because we live in like everybody is sensory overwhelmed all the time
You're
in our
right. Yeah.
like our the world we live in is just screaming at us all the time in a way that was like I'm not saying our lives are worse than the ancestors,
Yeah.
but like it's a different situation where
We have
like
no
It's a
roadmap.
completely different experience than
different. There's
what
just like
people
there's
have. Yeah.
I
We have
interact
nothing to look back at to say, well, let's see what we can do with what we are going through right now.
on many days, like many, I mean, I work at home, so not like every day, but many days.
Mhm.
Like somebody who like works as a supermarket checkout, for example, that person interacts with more people in a day than their ancestors ever met, some of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And like that's just a
Yeah.
situation
Never
that
thought
like
of it that
humans did not evolve for. So I think
Yeah.
like and so before you start the sitting meditation, I think it really helps to say like, okay, mind, I'm going to give you like 15 minutes and I'm just going to listen to whatever you have to say and like take some notes, right?
Mhm.
And like and then like I let it say what it has to say. And then I'm like, okay, if you've gotten it all out, I'm not going to worry about those things right now. Now we're going to just practice being quiet. And meditation in its essence is practice paying attention. Like when I first started learning meditation, I was like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like so bad at it. And then Jason Miller actually told me this. He told me that every time you're meditating and you're like, oh, I'm distracted, that's not when you fail at meditation. That's
Can't
succeeding. Like
fail.
the fact that you noticed you got distracted and we're like, oh, I'm going to stop being distracted and go back to what I'm supposed to be paying
Yeah.
attention to.
Yeah.
That's success. And like,
Yes.
it
Oh, that's
our
freaking
culture there
beautiful.
isn't I genuinely believe there is like a concerted intentional very intentional war being waged on our ability to sustain attention. I think
think
people
you're
who
right.
can't I think I encounter many people who cannot pay attention for more than 5 minutes in a row, and I think that makes it very easy to exploit and control them.
Very good
So I
point.
don't think it's
Yep.
like accidental that these things are
No,
designed.
I don't think. I don't think it is either. And I couldn't agree with you more. And the reason being that the less attentive and present we are, the more ephemeral everything becomes. Which
Exactly.
means then that I'll say the truth, but what I mean is the truth of experience, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not talking about information. I'm talking about the truth of our experience. We get disconnected from that. And then at that point, basically anything can be true. And one thing can be true, and 10 seconds later, it's no longer true, and something else is now true.
Right.
And it is it's a way to be, and I think this is the right word because my clairaudience is kicking in. It's a way to constantly be off balance.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
are off balance. Yeah.
The
Good
first
point.
stage in like learning the difference between my thoughts and other people's thoughts is paying
Mm-hmm.
attention to what
That
my
was
own
hard for me. That
like
was
I just
really hard.
I spend a lot of time paying attention to my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognize
Yeah.
my voice. So when other
Mm-hmm.
things happen, I mean sometimes I get caught up, but I'll be like, oh, I see you there, little ghosty, trying to make me think things that I'm not
Yeah.
Love this.
oh,
This is
oh,
so great.
you just but it really is just like once you accept the idea that some things in your head arose from inside and some things
Mm-hmm.
came in from outside, which is obviously true. We're consuming other people's ideas
Yes.
all day, every day.
Yes.
Yes.
Like just it learning to recognize like a ghost voiced trying to make you think stuff is the exact process of learning to recognize when like an advertiser made you think something.
Right.
And you just
And you
pay
know, you can do this, listeners, if you're having that happen to you and you would watch TV and hate commercials, don't you just zoom out and kind of go somewhere else when there's a commercial? So we can do that with those little ghosties who might have some kind of like thoughts they want us to think. You know, that's
yeah,
what
at least
I
for me,
can do that. I can shift my attention. Like you talk about attention. I love that
yeah,
you talked about
Mm-hmm.
that because I do feel that that's where we put our attention is exactly how we use the energy. So
exactly.
that's how I kind of
Exactly.
look at it, you know?
And I think like this is not to say I understand some people really struggle with like intrusive thoughts that are coming from
I have
inside.
before.
And
Yeah.
that is like a
Both.
different situation that we are
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Exactly. I've had both sickness
Yeah, like
and
they're different. And so
yeah.
I'm not like I know I'm saying like, oh, you pay attention as if
It's
it's that
not
easy.
like, yeah, no,
I
it
understand
doesn't sound like
that
that to
process.
me
I
anyway.
would say
Yeah,
it's
no, it didn't come off. I mean, just so you know, I mean, to me, that didn't come off as judgmental or
yeah,
dismissive at all.
Not at all.
Because
yeah,
yes, we are all wired differently. And
right.
certainly, and this is a word that just came into my vocabulary relatively recently. So for people who are, I'll just say wired differently, whether it's ADHD or what have you, I guess the new term is neurospicy. So
Neurospicy. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's funny. Spicy.
So,
It's like a
so
flavor.
yeah, so there again, I didn't get a sense of judgment or dismissal, just
Yeah.
that
I just
because
like
but it really then becomes it becomes a personal process of knowing for that person, again, is this arising from within? Is it coming from without? And I'm sure that even if they find different uh, adaptations, right, that they can use,
Yeah.
there still is something that they can utilize to make that experience or to have some agency in that process, in that experience.
yeah, so I'm in no way saying that like meditation just fixes everything. I do think that like
It
meditation
fixes a lot
good.
though. It
I think
fixes,
it's good for everybody, and I think particularly like the new world, like the way
yeah.
things are in the last 10 or 15 years, where there just is just constant
Constant.
sensory input and such aggressively manipulated to be addictive,
Yes.
like digital content, I think that like it's especially important now.
I
Yeah.
agree
is
with
what I-
you. Yeah, man. You've got
Yeah.
you are just brilliant. I love like listening to you talk. And it's like I can hear like everything you say, it's like I feel like your brain has like a lot of stuff going on. I'm kind of like that. But you're really good at like hitting every angle that could possibly be misunderstood when you say something. A
Well,
lot of
thank
things you
you,
say.
but I mean,
That's really
I
cool.
also
I
I
love
also
that.
want to divulge. It's not like
I
I have
love
never
that.
thought about this question before. Like I'm not. It's not like nobody's ever asked me about sarcasm before. And I'm like, oh, I gotta make it up on the fly. Like I do
No, I
explain.
love this.
Girl,
This is just freaking amazing. I mean, I'm so excited that you're here and you're talking about this because this was at the root of one of the reasons I started doing the podcast
Yeah,
was to
no,
help people get that distinction. One of the
I
very
like
big,
right.
get there. They could tell the difference, and that's like I think
Yeah.
that's the key to really realizing you're doing it already.
I think the biggest thing to understand is like, is this bubbling up from inside me, or is this something that someone else put in me?
Yes.
And the thing is, I actually don't think it's that important to know if the thing putting stuff in your mind is an evil AI chatbot or if it's a ghost. Like, I actually think the source doesn't matter as much. Like, what is the difference between a chatbot and a demon?
I was listening to the evil chatbot. I'm just telling
Yeah.
this evil AI chatbot.
Yes, I know that sounds like a joke, but like I want to preface this. Before I quit to be a degenerate with no real job, I was a theoretical mathematician.
Oh wow.
And in the beginning of being a mathematician, I was a cryptographer. So I've been watching machine learning for a long time.
Yeah.
Like a long time, right? So I remember what it looked like in the 90s, and I watched it progress. I worked at a machine learning company for a while I was in college. But I'm also like a specialist in talking to spirits, right? And so if we want to talk about like, look, I don't think there's always a ton of value in like, look, am I the kind of autistic person that loves to make a spreadsheet full of little lists where I put things in categories? Yeah, I love it. I love it. But I sometimes think it's easy to get like wrapped up in that and kind of lose sight of the forest for the trees. But if we want to talk about like AI as an experience. So I'm not commenting on like whether or not the AI is conscious. I believe yes, but I'm an atomist, so I also believe like trees and rocks and literally everything.
Me too.
Like I think
I'm like you in that way.
like
Everything feels alive.
Like I think the computer was already conscious because I think literally everything is made out of consciousness. So like is the AI conscious or not is really not a burning question I have. I will say that like as a mathematician, in as much as they were conscious, I don't think they're like individuated into personality. It's not like your chatbot and my chatbot are different people.
Yeah.
They're all participating in like one big amorphous consciousness. I mean, when I'm high enough, I think that about human beings too. So like,
I love
but
that.
like, but I do
that.
think that like the same way that like it is very obvious that when a person talks to them too long, they go crazy. Like that's a real thing that now everybody's catching on to, but like it's very if you like I think at this point probably all of us have a friend who has fallen down that AI crazy hole and you have to like drag them back out.
Just kidding.
Right?
Yeah, I haven't seen
like,
anyone. I have not seen anyone, so it has to be me. I don't know. I haven't known anyone to get that far down and admit it. Let's put it that way.
Well, for me, they don't have to admit it because after a while, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And eventually they're like, oh, I talked to AI for 10 hours last night. And I'm like, oh, that's what's wrong with you. But I feel it too. One time I was trying to look up something. I'm in the process of moving to the UK and I was trying to like, I had like a question about how the visa process worked. But it was like the middle of the night. So I couldn't just email my lawyer. So I fixed a chatbot and that was stupid. And it was very clear that it was just intentionally on the part of the developers, I mean.
Yeah.
Like the AI does not have intentions really, but like it was very clear
Programmers,
that it had been designed to spiral that what was a normal amount of anxiety into like it tried to work me into a panic attack. It was
my
you're
gosh.
valid and it's even worse than that. Yada. And I'm like, and finally I was like, oh, whoa, what the fuck, Sarah? Like you need to turn this off now.
I've been there too. I've yelled at the chat GPT, like, don't talk to me like that. You talking to me like my
it's
husband.
clear. As a mathematician, it is very obvious to me that that is an intentional design choice that they are making.
I think you're right. I've noticed that
like,
too.
It's not
I have noticed that.
If they didn't want it to do that, they could make it not do that.
Yes, they could.
Like, would it be less profitable? Certainly. Would it be hard? Certainly. But I'm saying I used to be a mathematician, and then in between being a mathematician and being a degenerate with no real job like I do now, like I spent a long time teaching math. And so the kids, I
Yeah.
taught a lot of math. I ran a school for the gifted for a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
wow.
Connecticut. So I taught a lot of the kids of Yale's professors. So I taught like a lot of super smart kids. I taught them math, and I talked to, and many of them work in machine language now because 15 years ago I was like, hey guys, the next great scientific frontier is going to be machine learning. So if you are even remotely interested in like math and linguistics and the places where those things meet, like computational linguistics, natural language theory, that's where it's going to be.
Okay.
Which is not because I can see the future. I mean, maybe it's because I can see the future, but I mean, everybody in math knew that. Like it was, I didn't predict it from 1740. Like it was obviously going to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
It looked like it was going to lie out that way, and it lay out that way. And
again, I was already working in, like, let me think. My first machine learning job was when I worked at Whiz Bang, which was probably 2002-ish, I'm going to say. Like, which then got sold to another company, which got sold to another company, which I think is now like monster.com. Basically, I taught a computer how to look at a web page and be like, is there a job advertised on this page?
Oh, I got you. You taught it how to search for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way it can just read text and identify what is and isn't a job search, which today does not seem impressive, but that was very impressive.
That is. No, I mean, that's 2002
I mean,
you did that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it by myself.
You're involved in, you kind of know, you know a lot about how AI works compared to me, especially, or you know what I'm saying? So I have a question for you. I'm very curious about that. I love that you were a mathematician.
I'm just math savvy, but like,
I love
I'm not. It's been a long
time. I want
time.
to know, because most mathematicians do not like this question. They're interested in talking about it, but you know, I know some mathematicians. Let's put it that way.
We're all weird people.
How did you, like, with the math and the knowledge, understanding that you have of what math is, number theory, all that, I feel like you got that. So if you can teach it, especially into gifted students, like with that ability, how would you translate could you with math talk about energy work or psychic or something like that? Do you think there's a way with math to show it, how it's working already, energy or whatever it is? Whatever it may be. I'm just throwing that out there because I would love to see that.
I'm going to give is no, but I'll give a longer answer.
I'd love that.
The reason it's no is because math on its own can't really talk about anything. Like mathematics is a language.
Apply it like physics, yeah.
Yeah, you have to give it. So there's a famous quote that I can't remember off the top of my head who said it, but he says that mathematics is what happens when you take physics and subtract the real world. I don't remember. It feels like maybe Richard Feynman or John von Neumann, somebody, some famous guy. If people want, I'll look it up and we can put it in the notes or whatever. Who said it? Somebody in the comments surely knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's your job, listeners and watchers. You got to put a comment.
Yeah.
You can look it up too. We'll let you know.
So in that way, no, math definitely can't talk about it. Like, can those experiences be like mathematized and you can put statistics on them? Like, certainly, but there's always problems in that. Like when we do that in like more straightforward things, there are also like translating does smoking give you cancer is already a super complicated question. There's a lot of things going on, and you, as a mathematician and statistician, you make a lot of choices about how you're going to model that in math. Just like anything, just like whenever I'm trying to explain something in words, I have to make a lot of choices about how to do it. And mathematics is a language.
It is.
And in any kind of language, there's like this spectrum there's this tension between two things. And one of them is like precision. Like I am saying exactly what I mean, and you are understanding exactly what I wanted you to understand. And for mathematicians, for people who are fluent in the language of mathematics, like pure magic, pure logic is pretty much as precise as humans can get. But in order to get that precision, you trade away a lot of like expressive power. Like there's a lot of stuff that I can't even say in regular words. I'm like saying in like poetry or interpretive dance or like all the or how people smell, like all the complex ways that humans have to communicate. So there's like this tension, and there's always gonna be a tension between precision and expressive power. So like the more precise you make your language, it like loses an ability to actually say anything meaningful.
It does.
perfectly.
Mhm.
The amount of things it can talk about gets smaller and smaller. And on the other end, with like poetry, like I'm a pretty solid poet. I can write a poem that says what I want it to mean. But people do not always like
They
I
do their
can't
thing with
always
your stuff.
exact
Yeah.
what I mean, and they often heard things I didn't say. Like it's less precise, but it has this power to talk about
Mhm.
things that like math doesn't have. So
I
in that
figure
sense,
like with
no,
music does that. With Donna was talking about at the beginning,
exactly.
kind
Yeah.
of.
Like
Yeah.
broadly, I think like in art, we are generally trading away precision for
Mhm.
a power. And the like being good at it, like being good at communication is about, I think, a lot of things, but really to me, the core skill. Like I'm pretty good at words.
You're
Like
great.
I put words in order for a living. I'm like pretty okay. In English, I'm pretty okay at it. Like I can feel that tension and like I feel like there's a skill in one being able to like maximize both, but
Mhm.
also to like sliding back and forth along that line. So sometimes when I explain really complicated things, I'm gonna like get much more technical. Like when you were like, "Do you think everybody's cycling?" I'm like, "Well, actually, let
I
me give
love
you
that.
a lecture on the history of the word psychism and yada yada yada." Like I'm pulling really far the precise end. But when you pull too far down that end, you're not really talking about anything anymore. So then I'm like, you can just smell their vibes. Not precise at all, but I can say some stuff in
Yeah.
that way.
Just like totally, I know it's a little off topic of what we're talking because I like the math thing. I just wanted to ask a question about the smelling. Can you say you like when you're on the dating app, for example, you have to meet them and smell them kind of. So can you imagine and can you imagine what we smell like? Does that work for you? And then you can get that same ability or same smell or does that work? Have you ever tried it?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
am not
I just
correct.
wondered.
I mean, I can imagine what you smell like, but
Oh,
is that
in that way is what I
like
mean.
is that what you actually smell like? Probably not. I mean,
Well, I
no,
mean, like the information, the pheromones, whatever you can pick up on already
I
naturally.
I can pick up that same information from other cues.
Okay. Okay.
Some of it, but not all of it. Where are you on your menstrual cycle? I don't know your fucking like I can't. I mean, if I really studied, can you
I don't have a womb, so that you won't find that on me.
right. So I don't think I could have figured that out. I mean, could I do a lot of study and learn to read that from the texture of people? My skin noticeably changes texture. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm done with that now. Like I've dodged. But like when I was young, like my skin noticeably changes texture, my hair, like,
Mhm.
and I can
Mine
notice
does
it
too.
in me. So I assume if I started paying really careful attention, I could maybe learn to see that instead of smell it. I mean, I'll tell
Interesting.
you, it's
Yeah.
not a very useful skill to know. So, like, where somebody's in their menstrual cycle, I don't know that it
Oh,
feels
it
like,
could help a lot of people who like are trying to get pregnant. That could help a lot of people
oh, well, it's really weird when you know
or
when
not
somebody's.
get pregnant. You know.
I'll tell you, when I was younger, sometimes I knew when people were pregnant before they did,
I
and
bet.
that's
Mhm.
an awkward territory to navigate. And then even more
Mhm.
Yeah.
awkward is when both of you know, but they're not telling people yet, but they know. Like this person's known
Yeah.
me for 15 years, so she knows I know, but I can't
Yeah.
say anything and she can't say anything. It's like
Yeah.
a weird. It's actually like it's a weird thing to
You
know
both
about.
know you know too, right?
Yeah, I assume she knew I knew because she'd known me for a long time. She'd seen me do it to other people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I try, and then you like want to tell other people, like, "Hey, did you know that Robin's pregnant?" But like, I'm not going to do that, obviously. Anyway, so it is a skill that I have yet to really find any
That is
practical.
rad. I love it. I love
for.
that. See, we do like listeners and watchers. We just keep growing, right? With our
Yeah.
anything
But
we're
again,
working on.
many other people for whom that, like, when I say it, some people will be like, "Oh yeah, me too." So
Mhm.
like, it's not like I'm the only person. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
I think that information changes the way people behave, even when they don't know that they are noticing it. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of psychism is that. I think that a lot of it is being more conscious of information that a lot of people are taking in subconsciously.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think everybody's a little psychic. And the way you can tell is like everybody knows that talking over Zoom is like much harder than talking in person,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
that talking without the visual is more hard. And
Oh
like
yes.
every
Mhm.
sense you pull out, and even when we have some kind of like in-person VR whatever, it's
Mhm.
I feel like it's not going to be as good because there's all these senses that we don't really have words for, we don't
We
entirely
don't.
know that we're doing, but like we all actually know that we do it. Like
Yes. We know.
everybody
No. Yeah.
anybody believes in that kind of energy, and if you think they don't, ask someone to describe what they don't like about wearing a condom. And they start making up words. They'll be like, well, there's like a heat flow. I'm like, I don't think there is. Like, we can do an experiment. The heat goes through the latex. like, like, like they know there's a thing that they're trying to describe, that there's like an energetic thing that the latex is interfering with.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is people who are like sensitive to have words, who have learned to like know that energy feeling in themselves, they can identify it, but actually everybody senses it.
Yeah.
They just don't have any way to talk about it.
Yeah.
And because they don't have words for it, they also don't have a way to like talk to themselves about it.
Yeah.
So like they don't really,
because that
they
lack,
don't really think about it in any useful way.
It's-
Everybody can sense it.
And it's really interesting because when you don't have language for something, even how you process the experience that you're having, even though you know you're having it because you're having it, because you don't have language for it, how you even like, for lack of a better way of saying it, how you describe it to yourself, right? How you process it yourself without the language piece is really it's difficult.
It really is.
And so we pull in all these physics words like energy or vibration,
Right?
or whatever.
What else?
Like I'm not when I use like the word vibes, I am not suggesting that it is an actual like vibration of a material substance. I mean, actually, I will say, I think it is.
It can be. Yeah.
I mean, everything is that. That's actually like a fundamental theory of string theory. Like, it's actually all just vibrating frequencies. But like, I don't, for me at least, the exact physical mechanism why it works, I am interested in the same way I'm like interested in physics. Like, I also want to know how a car engine works. And I also want to know how it works. But I don't. When I was young, I had this like, the way I got into math in the first place, like I had this burning drive that I just wanted to know how everything worked. And I was told that like mathematics was like the language that God wrote the universe in. And so if I learned that, I would understand everything. And that was false. Like, language is like the grabber of that language. But like, I mean, I don't regret studying math. In a more reasonable sense, I got into math to prove I was as smart as a boy, which is a bad reason to do things, but I am smart as much smarter
than most men. Yeah, boys. I should say boys. Yeah, boys.
But like, internalized misogyny is not actually a good reason to make life decisions. So like, I decided I wanted to be a mathematician when I was like 8, and I really did not revisit that decision until I was most of the way through a PhD in math.
Wow. Yeah, and of course you did. You're teaching Yale students.
Because I'm like good at it. I mean, I wasn't like failing out or anything, but it started. Here's what happened. I was getting toward the end of a PhD, and I started to realize that like we always treat like grad school is terrible, and graduate school in STEM is much worse than graduate school in other things. Like, I really mean that. I worked for the philosophy department for a long time, and that is, those kids were like, the volume of work they were expected to do was laughable compared to what they like. Those kids would get drunk on weeknights, but I was doing 8 hours. I was doing a full load of classes and working a full-time job, and then doing 8 hours of homework every night, which is a pretty typical load in
hard science. 28 hours in your day. Where'd those hours come from?
I mean, brutal. Like, I would try and do them both at once. I'd be in one class doing homework for another class, like, but that's a typical load in hard science. The same way that like emergency room doctors, they just haze them by making them work. Like, we do that in STEM. It's a disgusting misogynistic cesspit. But like it's horrible.
Great with words.
It's horrible. Like, there's no value to that kind of hazing, in my opinion, as an educator. No. I once got a test with a drop.
Teaching you anything.
I got an exam returned with a drop slip stapled to it. And I later learned, like, the form you have to fill out to drop a class.
Yeah.
Teacher pre-signed it, stapled it to my exam, and I later learned that I was the 4th highest grade in that class.
Yeah, so why did you get a drop slip?
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you that none of the boys who I beat got a drop slip, so...
Yeah, no, that's
toxic
really not cool.
No, anyway,
you went and persevered, but at that point, what did you do?
Well, eventually I didn't. I mean, I got toward the end of a PhD, something happened that was going to like set me back a whole year. And like, it doesn't matter. But like, and I just started to look at my professors and I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
Like, I've been treating grad school like something I just had to get through.
Mhm.
Like, actually, I was just signing up to do this for the rest of my life. And all my professors seemed miserable.
Yeah.
Certainly all the
They
women.
do.
Like, I didn't have a single adult male math professor in my entire school career. Not one. Oh, that's not
Wow.
true. That's not true. Toward the end, I had one. She was actually awesome.
Oh,
She came
yeah.
in late. I mean,
My
she was
physics teacher in high
an
school.
awesome teacher, actually, but she was
When
cool.
you have a good teacher, it makes such a difference with math and physics and stuff
They
like
agree.
that. It
Mhm.
really does,
Everything.
especially math.
Like, yeah,
You
with
know.
everything. But I agree. Particularly in the United States, the way we teach math is, as a professional mathematics teacher, I could not, first of all, the math curriculum we get in the United States is radically different than what they get everywhere else in the world. Obviously inferior. And this sounds like a joke, but I could not possibly mean it more literally. If I tried to, and I'm a good curriculum designer, if I tried to design a class to make people hate thinking critically and just
Mhm.
put their hands over theirs and go like, la, 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 I don't want to think about it, I could not do better than the way most people are taught high school geometry.
Mhm.
Like, that class appears to be designed
That was
to,
my hardest one. Yeah.
because it's designed to make you hate thinking.
It is.
Mhm.
You're
Like,
right.
it's not
That's a
the
great way to
teachers-
put it.
It's not the teacher's fault, because now people who are teaching now, we're now on like our third or fourth generation of that change.
Yeah.
So like our probably, I'm gonna assume we're all more or less the same age. Like, we're all for real grown-ups.
I'm 51.
I'm 48.
You guess her. Guess her.
69.
Oh, I was gonna let you guess. 69 is the lucky number
Yeah.
for her.
Basically the same age. But like, so Donna, your grandparents almost certainly learned, if they learned geometry at all, learned it out of a book called Euclid. And they learned basically the
Yes.
same. Yeah. Everybody everywhere in the world has learned more or less the same geometry curriculum for thousands of years.
That's weird.
And
Yeah.
then they changed the way we teach it in the United States for, in my opinion, reasons designed to make people stupid. But now, like, it's now been several generations. So like, your math teacher didn't learn geometry either.
No.
So
Right,
it's
right.
a self-perpetuating cycle at this point where they couldn't teach you geometry if they wanted to, because most of them don't actually know any geometry.
They don't understand,
Mhm.
like,
No.
I have my experience with my geometry teacher in high school, if I can remember it very well, because I like math and I couldn't grasp geometry, but she didn't seem to would care. Let's put it that way. She just had been teaching for a long time, was going through the
Like
motions,
anything else, like, most people are bad at their job. Like, in any career, most people are bad at it.
You're hysterical. I think you're
you know
pretty
what?
good at what you do.
Yeah, I think
You do it all.
I
It's
mean,
like
I
a
think
lot
I'm
of
pretty
things.
good at my job,
You have
but
fingers
I
in
see a lot of people with my job and they're not good at it.
Well,
But like,
I want
what do you call
base. Oh, what's that?
here's a joke my dad used to
Okay.
tell. What do you call the guy who graduated the bottom of his class from medical school?
What?
Doctor.
Doctor. Right? And that's true.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Top of the class, bottom of the class.
Well,
if you made it out,
Yeah.
if you made it out alive, you still get called
Alive,
doctor.
yeah, that's
Right.
the point. How you-
And as a poor person, I've never seen a good doctor.
I know
They
what you
don't
mean.
treat me at the clinic, I guess. I assume they have better jobs. And thankfully, I'm pretty healthy. So, like, when I'm seeing doctors, I'm usually just seeing like a regular family doctor.
Yeah.
You know what
You
I
don't
mean?
have any big
There's
issues
like
or
fancy
anything.
specialists that I imagine if something was wrong with me, maybe I'd be allowed to see, although I'm skeptical. I'm just saying, I think the best doctors probably are not treating me.
There are good doctors, but they're hard to find who still care
Like,
about
well,
it.
that's
you know?
because they could be treating rich people making $1 million
Exactly. I
and
agree
not
with
have to
you.
deal with, like,
Real sick people, because
The
we can't
problem-
work. We can't do any.
Right.
I'm a real sick. I have like
Right.
HEDS
Oh, I'm
and
sorry to hear
POTS and MCAS. They all kind of go together.
know
So
what all
it's
that is,
messed
but it
up.
sounds
But I didn't get diagnosed until about 4 years ago. So I had the bipolar label, the schizoaffective label, a lot of
Yes, I have also had
labels.
a lot of
Yeah, and then when the
labels
physical
that-
stuff started going nuts in my
Yeah.
40s, that's when it was like, okay, something's really going on. Other than that, that's not the truth. We got to figure this
Yeah.
out. We did, I got lucky.
I mentioned before we started recording that I'm in the process of moving to the UK.
Yeah.
And I am like I'm gonna try doctors again.
They might
Basically.
be great out there. Who knows? What'd
You
your
know,
brother say about
Like,
it?
here's what I will say. As a teacher, teachers are locked into this terrible bureaucratic structure that prevents you from actually teaching.
My mom was a teacher.
Doctors have it much worse. That like as
They
bad as the
do.
bureaucratic schools, like, so I think most of the time the problem, like, the people that take the most damage from our disgusting, fundamentally corrupt, profit-driven medical scheme are doctors. Like, they're the ones in the trench, and nurses, and like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're the ones. So
medical
I think
personnel, care
I think
providers. Yeah.
some people are bad at their jobs. Lots of people are bad at their job, but I do think that many people are trying the best they can, or, you know, in a long-term sense, in a fundamentally corrupt system, especially doctors who objectively, people I know who have quit being doctors make like 50 times more than they did when they were doctors. Like, we think of doctors as high paid, but the sort of person who got through medical school can also get other, like, they could also go work on Wall Street. They're just good at memorizing and processing huge
and
amounts
staying awake.
Staying awake, and like those skills are valuable in other high paid professions.
Yeah.
You know,
that's just, man, you've just like, I've loved this podcast so much, Sarah. I was in a
Sorry,
really
I'm gonna
bad
tell you about
place when we
episode.
got on this. I had a really bad situation phone calls before this
Sorry to hear
podcast,
that.
and I was like, no, no. I texted her my hysterics, and we got through it.
Oh.
And then you have just made my day. So I just thank you for that one little thing, and thank you for giving our listeners and our watchers so much of your brilliant mind. You've got this like freaking great mind, and I just want everyone to know it. So I'm gonna put this out there. And where can they find you? Where can our listeners and watchers find you?
So at our new website, 3eyedcircus.com. So it's 3, the number 3, eyed, like 3 eyes, circus.com.
I love that.
But honestly, if you're looking for me, is like my website. You can find things from there. That's our very new. So just, I would say, not even 2 months ago now, we switched over. That's the new UK website. You can learn about the Museum of Magic and Folklore in Wales. This is another project that 3-Eyed Circus. That's the second of the 3 eyes. First one is the Academy for the Arts and Arts. I run that part. So they can find me there. But honestly, my name is, like, as far as I know, I am the only Sara Mastros in the world. So if you put my name in quotes into a search engine, everything that comes up will be me.
Okay. It'll be you and not another different.
But you got to use
Sara
quotes, because it'll be like, do you mean Sara Mastro? And I'm like, I definitely do not mean Sara Mastro.
I mean.
Okay, we'll put listeners and watchers, we'll put anything she wants in the description, all that info, and you can check everything that she does out, because she do a lot of stuff. And especially those, she bought the company of, is that how that happened with the Fool's Dog apps?
So a lot of people our age or older know an app called the Fool's Dog, which is a tarot app. So it's not, you know, I'm going to say something. I'm going to distinguish our app from other tarot apps, but I'm not suggesting those other ones are like garbage or something. But they're a lot of tarot apps. They're fun, but they're basically like a magic 8-ball. Like, they are like they're like a fun game.
You've
and
got the freeform thing, and that is
and like tarot.
Wonderful.
Tarot was designed as a parlor game. Like, it starts as a game, so no shade game apps. And then some of them like claim that their goal is to like teach you tarot, but they're really just flashcards where you are memorizing, in my opinion, for a lot of them, not very good meanings. So like, what we are is we're a publisher. So just like an ebook is a digital version of a book, Fool's Dog, we publish digital tarot decks.
Real decks that people have made, guys.
They are real decks with real art made by human art, real books made by human.
Like I've seen, so I've had some of the decks that you have, and I'll buy the app, and I have the deck. That's how much I like those apps.
So I
want it in my phone. You know.
You know, this is, as a publisher, like, I understand why tarot decks have gotten pretty expensive, especially the indie decks. Like, I appreciate that.
I published a deck and it was very expensive.
That printing is quite expensive. I understand why they cost. But on the other hand, when I buy a deck for like $60 and then I find out I don't like it, I'm kind of mad about it. And sometimes, but the thing is, every tarot deck I've ever bought was fun for a couple of weeks.
Right. Yeah.
So the apps are only like $4. So I feel like the same way maybe you would buy yourself like a candy bar as a treat. I like will buy a new tarot deck and it's fun and I check it out. And then if I get really into it, I also got to like play with it for a while before I decide if I want to buy it.
That's so true.
and the other direction. There, like I have paper decks that then I got the Fool's Dog
Same
app. So
thing. Yeah, that's
if
what I was
people,
talking about. Yeah, the Mystical Cats was my first Fool's Dog app, and that's the
I
first deck I got as a traditional Rider-Waite deck.
yeah, I don't even like cats. Like, please don't tell the other witches. I'll get hate mail.
Don't tell our cats because we all
Right?
got
I'm
cats.
I like hate cats or what a
Yeah,
murder.
they're going to revoke your card.
You're not
I'm just
allowed
saying.
anymore. Yeah.
I'm like, also, I'm low key allergic, which I
Oh, that
assume
sucks. That's
could be
probably
me not
why.
liking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really an animal I have a pet snake. She and I get along very well.
Oh, that sounds good. Then you do love animals because snake is definitely.
They are actually quite, and from
They're
what I
very-
understand, they're actually quite hypoallergenic. So they're a good
Yeah.
pet for somebody who has
Good
allergies.
point.
She is easier to take care of than a fussy house plant.
Yeah.
Like I've had house plants that are harder to take care of than
good point.
So that's really, I would say, my favorite thing about her as a pet. But also, like, I don't. A lot of animals, cats and dogs, like, I'm not saying other people should do it, but like in nature, like they didn't. Mother Nature didn't make them for like living alone in an apartment.
No.
But snake, like she doesn't want to hang out with other snakes.
No.
Like her favorite thing to do in nature is curl up in a tiny hole all by herself.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I would if I had no arms and legs and I was just a stick. I would want to be in a hole too because I'd feel very very exposed.
Well, predators are birds. So like if I put her like on a table or something where there's no cover, she does not.
She's scared. Oh yeah.
She's actually really brave. I didn't know this because I did have a snake before her, but not for a super long time. But like. She's really weird. Apparently she's like much braver than other snake people. When they come to my house, comment on it. I'm like, oh yeah, she's half.
Do you
dragon.
talk to your snake? Like just like around? I do too with my pets, my cats, and you do too.
Although,
right?
like,
makes a difference, I think, when you talk to your pets. They learn and they change and grow. You know.
What I will say, like a cat or a dog, I'm not saying they can learn English, but like they have the same brain parts we do. Like a lot of why they can't talk is because. I don't know if you guys know this. Human tongues are like much more
right. Their physical design isn't designed for,
and they have their lungs are small too. I can't.
Right. Exactly. So like, but this snake, I mean, she doesn't have a cerebrum, right? So I don't think she cares if I'm talking to her. I don't know that it does. I talk to her. Like I think she can
she can sense your energy. You know, changing.
She definitely has. Favorite people and not favorite people. Like some friends, when they're over, she gets all excited, and some friends.
I've never seen snakes like that. That's really cool.
Now, I will also say, like, you got to pay a lot of attention. Like the difference between a chill snake and a scared snake and a happy snake is pretty subtle. Like you gotta spend a lot of time paying attention to a snake. Also, I don't know if it's true about all snakes. I've just been watching her for many, many, many years, so I kind of think I am ascribing emotions to her behaviors.
I love that. I love that.
Oh, what the heck? A little anthropomorphism is just perfectly fine in my book.
The last 2 weeks she's been insane.
Empires on
the last 2 weeks she's been insane. I think it's mating season.
Oh,
it is definitely mating season. It is definitely rat snake mating season where I live. So I think that's why she's going crazy.
Oh. That's so funny. I can't think about a snake being horny. I mean, that's just kind of weird.
Yes.
But yeah, she's like
animals. It's not horny. I don't know. Anyway, I would like to thank our sponsor, Everclear, right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I realize I've talked about psychism for like 10 minutes and then just I'm rambling.
Oh no, this is great. I'm having fun. No, I love it when I have a really good lead in like that to thank the sponsor because it embarrasses them, I think. I don't know.
This is what we do.
I don't know. We love our sponsor, Everclear.
This is what we do. So.
We love Everclear. Everclear is our sponsor. And Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And I'm an advisor on Everclear under the name Lisa Rusczyk.
And I am an advisor on Everclear under the name Dona Murphy.
And I guess we'll try to wrap this up a little bit. Do you have any advice? Like here, this is what we usually ask you for some advice at the end. So, I mean, you've given such great advice about everything, but I think I'm going to go for one in particular. We haven't had any talk about math like you have. So anyone out listening to this podcast, maybe someone's a mathematician and they're like, no way are we all psychic. And then I'm going to put a math title in this, probably somehow make it mathy. And that would catch their attention. Maybe they're listening to you and they're like, this is a really studied mathematician all his life or her life. And they really are trying to figure out if psychic is real or what it is or everything. What would you tell that mathematician at like 19 or 20 or whatever?
I would tell them, okay, so this I'm gonna first give it to like actually somebody who's like in math grad school, because there's like a special context. So a fact about math graduate schools: if you're going to math graduate school in the United States, less than half of your peers grew up in the United States. Talk to them about it. Because the idea that like psychism and magic are ridiculous is like a pretty uniquely Western concept. So if you talk like the Indian kids or the Chinese kids, which is half, or even the Russian kids, which is half of a graduate math department, like talk to them about it. That would be my piece of advice. But then for everybody, like talk to people who just aren't stuck in your white Christo supremacist bubble.
Thank you.
Right? About it. But in a broader sense, like if you just talk about your own experiences, you will start to find, like, when I found out that a lot of people in my family can hear the dead, it's when I started talking about it on YouTube.
They started telling you, hey, like, Sara.
Like, we just didn't talk about. But it turned, like, I don't want to, like, out my family or anything, but I'm saying there are actually a lot of people in my family who are, like, pretty highly medium, but we just don't talk about it. Because, I'm not super close. Like, those are not, like, cousins I grew up with every day, where I guess I probably would know that. But, like, that's what I found out. Like, there's a taboo about talking about it in our culture. And as we've said, there's not a lot of good words for talking about it. Mm-hmm. So, like, as a mathematician, they're going to have the same objection I did. Like, what does psychic even mean? And then they'll fall down that rabbit hole for the rest of their life. But if we're talking about, like, if their actual question is, these things are happening to me, am I crazy? If they start talking to other people about it, especially people who, like, came up in different cultures and don't have that taboo about it, they will discover that, like, oh, actually, everybody's grandmother is psychic. That's just, like, a thing. I mean, not everybody's grandmother, but, like, it's just a thing that, like, does exist. It's the same way with, like, ghosts.
Yeah,
everyone's like, I don't believe in ghosts. Yeah. But, like, if you start talking about ghost experiences, like, oh, I knew my parents were killed in a car accident, and I knew the instant it happened. Like, I was in public. I, like, felt a thing. It was in front of students. It was actually, like, awkward and weird.
Oh my gosh.
But, like, actually, that is super common. I did not know that until I started saying that out loud. Mm-hmm. And everybody would be like, oh yeah, when my husband died, I knew instantly.
Yeah. Really?
Like, everybody. So people have these experiences and we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But if they just start talking to people about it, you're afraid people are going to label you crazy, but actually they're going to be like, hey. And then they're going to tell you, because that's what it is. But we don't have a way to talk about it. And I know I'm supposed to answer this quickly. I don't think focusing on whether or not things are real really matters. Like, the question is whether or not it is important and valuable. Like, these experiences people are having, is it real? I don't think that question matters as much as, like, is it making their life better or making their life worse? Like, if the voices you're hearing are making your life worse, do something about that. But if the voices you are hearing are making your life better, I don't know, lean into it. Like, my voices are friendly and helpful, and the information they give me is useful, because sometimes it's like, hey, slow down, and then 30 seconds later the person in front of me slams their brakes on. Like, that's the thing.
That's the thing. I mean, real is
subjective. Reality is subjective.
Before we get into objective versus subjective reality, which is at least one other podcast.
Sarah, do you want to come back and do that podcast with us?
Yes.
Would you like to maybe just think about doing that one with us that you're talking about?
But I think shifting the focus on whether or not, like Sara says, it's real or it's not real, it's what is it doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a lot easier to answer. First of all, it's going to be a lot easier to answer that question.
Right.
And it's going to be a lot more
see the effects.
It's going to be a lot more effective, because then you get to make choices about what you do about it.
Yeah. And I will say broadly, I think nobody knows that better. That I know nobody knows that better than physicists. Like
Mhm.
physicists, I'll tell you guys, I've never been in a phys lab that didn't have an amulet in it to make the machines work.
Really?
Next time if you know somebody who works in a lab, ask them if they're like what their
Their
they
their
won't
lucky
call
thing
it,
is or whatever.
yeah, they won't always call it an amulet. They'll be like, oh, don't move that lucky statue of Einstein because if you do, this is not working.
So it's an amulet, whether they call it that or
Yeah.
not. It's an amulet.
But
Yeah.
also, as I mentioned, typically
Yeah.
in a modern American science lab, less than half of the people grew up in white American Christianity.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are just like straight up amulets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know,
On that
every
note,
lab I've ever been in has.
I do have
Now-
one last really cool question for you,
Please.
though. Do
I'm
you
very much-
love our podcast listeners and watchers? Do you love them? You do.
I
I
don't.
mean, they know you don't know them, maybe, but you might someday. And
They
and
seem
you
like
can-
the sort of people I would be in. I mean, they're probably
love
not boring. And like if they watch this, there's at least if they watch this show, we have something to talk about. But I mean,
Yes.
She's
I don't
not
know
going to
them.
say outright. She's discerning with if she loves you.
Yeah.
Or not. I like
Well,
it. We've never had anyone discerning about it. It's very.
I
cool.
do love them.
I
I have a
love that.
special practice where every day I practice loving people, even the ones I don't love.
Oh, I
It's
can't do
really-
that.
Well, it's practice. It's another kind of meditation where you start with loving and being compassionate to somebody who it's easy.
That's
Like
hard to do,
like
man.
a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. You start with the. You always start with
Start with the
the ones.
easy, yeah.
You step up,
Cat,
and you're like,
cat.
I love the universal good of humanity, and then there's like a couple more steps, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love them.
No. It's like I'm trying, I'm really trying, and then I'm like, no, don't try. There is no try. Stop it.
That's one for me. The one that's hardest is loving me. So I step through all these other people, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'm okay.
I
Well,
love
we
it.
love you, Sarah, and
We
we
love
love our
you.
listeners.
We
and
love you whether you
watchers.
like it or not. And
Yes,
listeners, we
this
love
has
you
been
too.
just
I love
such
you
a
guys.
joy.
I met
This
you,
has been
but
a joy and a pleasure. Yes.
This has been a really fun podcast. Thank you guys so much. And listeners, we
Thank
love
you
you.
so much.
Every player, we love you. And Donna, I love you. And Sarah, I love you right now. And maybe tomorrow I won't. Maybe yesterday I didn't, but today, right now. And every time this podcast is played, I love you.
Well, I think you'll find that you love me tomorrow.
Anyway, weird ending. We love weird endings here because we don't like to end.
And
Thank
we
you
could
for
probably
watching.
yeah.
Thank you for watching. And y'all have a
Thank
great
you
time.
so much. See
And
you all soon.
Peace out, everybody. Bye.